So, during Avengers EndGame, we all seen Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, destroy Thanos. She literally lit him up before he literally sent an army onto her, then she got destroyed. So, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Scarlet Witch potentially being the strongest Avenger. Well, recently Kevin Feige had something to say about Scarlet Witch. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. We are currently giving away EndGame on digital download, Blu-ray, 4K, VHS, but no, you can't get on that. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel with notifications on and let me know down below, why should I pick you? So, recently, in an interview with CRB via comicbook.com, Kevin Feige shared an opinion, but it's really hard to understand if he's making it factual or if it's off the cut. Because if you remember before Captain Marvel movie came out, she was the strongest character they'd ever introduced. Then everyone kind of insinuated what he meant by that was Captain Marvel is the strongest Avenger, but now it appears Scarlet Witch was. But before we get into this interview, if you remember back in Infinity War, I made a video about it. In fact, it's one of the biggest videos on my whole entire channel. Of 1,600 videos, it's one of my biggest videos. It was explaining how Scarlet Witch could fend off Thanos when he had the majority of the stones by herself because she's super OP. So let's read exactly what it said. Feige shared his belief that Scarlet Witch could defeat Thanos on her own in Avengers EndGame. Speaking of her abilities, so this is interesting. So he's literally saying that if she was by herself and he was by himself, without anything else, without the Infinity Stones, without the Gauntlet, she would annihilate him. So speaking of her abilities, he said, Wanda Maximoff, who is probably near the ecolongs of power, I contend she would have taken Thanos if he hadn't called the army. It was done. Feige also talked about Scarlet Witch's role in Doctor Strange too. Now, this is what interests me, right? So Scarlet Witch has got a new movie show coming out. So she's in Doctor Strange 2 and she's got WandaVision coming out. Captain Marvel was the strongest Avenger to help promote her movie. Now, I'm a really big fan of Scarlet Witch, but it's a bit like, to me, that they're saying Scarlet Witch is now the strongest Avenger to help promote Doctor Strange 2 and her own streaming show. So let's read what he had to say. Feige also talked about Scarlet Witch's role in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, explaining her being the Scarlet Witch now, as Lizzie said on stage, in full sort of unabashed, power-based way, coming into Doctor Strange movie that is two heroes coming together in a fun way. Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange are two of the most powerful characters in the MCU, so Feige's comments clarify why a partnership between the two makes sense. Now, this is very interesting because, as we said, guys, that it just seems to me that she's the strongest Avenger now, yet Thor was the strongest Avenger, yet Captain Marvel was the strongest Avenger, yet Hulk was the strongest Avenger. It's like they're changing the strongest Avenger to help self-promote their own movies and show. Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, is a very popular character. She is so freaking popular. She does not need to be promoted in this way. So yes, I do believe she is the strongest Avenger. But now this is going to open the can of worms for who really is the strongest Avenger. Now, I guarantee now there will be some Instagram, some YouTube, some Twitter, some Facebook, some Tumblr posts saying the strongest Avenger has recently been confirmed or revealed or something along these lines, because what Kevin Feige said, he didn't say she was the strongest Avenger. What he actually said, and I think I've already seen some people talking about this on Twitter, it's been misinterpreted. He said that she would have taken Thanos down. It doesn't say she is the only Avenger that could take Thanos down. Now let's read it. She would have taken Thanos down if he hadn't called the army. Now in this situation, she was the only one in the whole movie who realistically was in a position to take Thanos down. So it is very interesting. So now you got to understand they're going into Doctor Strange 2. Now, why would they reveal that she could have taken Thanos down? Is it because Galactus is confirmed? Well, we might as well confirm it already, guys. No, that's not the case. It's got to have to do something with the multiverse out of balance. Obviously, you got to understand the Infinity Stones have been turned to atoms. There is no time stone to correct the universe, or I guess you can say, keep the universe in line. We know that Dormammu only agreed to stay in a dark dimension whilst Doctor Strange could basically keep him in time loop. So what it's saying to me and a lot of other people is, damn, this movie could have multiple villains. Now, there's a lot of people, including some of the biggest creators here on YouTube, saying that Nightmare is confirmed. Now, that's not really what Scott Derrickson said. He said it's going to be a gothical, scariest MCU movie ever, the first scary movie inside the MCU. But that doesn't really confirm Nightmare. Yeah, sure, Nightmare got to a point where he was dependent on fears from people's dreams, and essentially he ruled the dream world. Yeah, essentially, but that does not sanction Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. It's going to be very, very interesting because this movie is going to be fire. Doctor Strange 1 is a pretty complex movie. A lot of people missed the fact that the multiverse was introduced via the Ancient One in this movie. Yet, so a lot of people were confused after Spider-Man Far From Home when they found out that Jake Gyllenhaal wasn't really from the multiverse, saying, is the multiverse real? Well, of course it's real. We've seen the Dark Dimension, we've seen the Astral Planes, we've seen lots of different variations of dimensions, which implies that isn't the multiverse, but there is a multiverse that we haven't really seen. So, in the Multiverse of Madness, it's very interesting. So, whoever this villain or villains is going to be, they're going to have to be freaking insane if you are saying that Scarlet Witch could take out Thanos alone. So you got to think, which villain is strong enough that they'd be stronger than Thanos before you bring Doctor Strange in? Because you got to think about it realistic. If Doctor Strange had the Time Stone, had the Eye of Agamotto by himself, Thanos had nothing, I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange could have taken out Thanos by himself. I'm pretty sure a lot of the Avengers could have pretty much taken Thanos out by himself. So it's a pretty bold claim that I'm seeing in articles. I'm reading this on Screen Rant, but I'm seeing a lot of headlines saying Kevin Feige said that Scarlet Witch is the only Avenger that could take out Thanos, but that's not what the quote says. I don't really know where this is coming from because, like I said, he said she would have taken Thanos out if she didn't call an army in this situation, in this current time. Now, there has been some pretty interesting fan casting for who is going to be Nightmare. Your boy Warstu started it off a couple of weeks ago when we said that Joaquin Phoenix should play Nightmare because an artist who we've shared on the channel multiple times, he made an artwork for this, and to be honest, Joaquin Phoenix as Nightmare looks freaking insane. So there is another one I want to go over. I found it on someone called Comic.Capital's page. So Eve Green has been fan casted as Nightmare. Then, you know, an insider, I'm not going to mention his name because he's irrelevant, it's irrelevant to the situation. He debunked it. Now, let me get this straight, guys. Okay, I have access to insiders. I speak to insiders, right? And until someone is cast, you can't really debunk stuff and kind of fabricate this is fake, because nothing is fake. No theory, no idea is fake about a movie until said movie is out or there's an actual plot leak. So is Eva Green going to be Nightmare? No, pretty much no. I don't think she's going to be Nightmare. But I do think Nightmare will be the villain. As I said, everyone is reporting Nightmare was confirmed during San Diego Comic-Con. But that's not what happened, is it? Just a scary gothical movie was confirmed. So it's going to be interesting to see what villain Elizabeth Olsen and Benedict Cumberbatch is going to go up again. And you got to understand the reasoning they're probably saying she's so powerful is because WandaVision is coming on the Disney streaming service as well. Now that sounds pretty cool. I mean, they're saying the storyline is to do with how her reality warping powers play into her grief. And it does, to be honest, it does sound like a pretty interesting story. So Doctor Strange villain who could potentially shift through Wanda's struggles into territory of dimensions of dream. I mean, it does really sound like Nightmare. I mean, back in 2016 on IGN, I really like the idea of Nightmare, the concept that the Nightmare realm is a dimension. That's early. That's like the first Strange tale. I think it's the introduction episode of Doctor Strange. I always loved that. Nightmare is indeed the first villain that Doctor Strange encountered way back in the Strange Tales 110. And he draws from the powers of Nightmare in the hopes of controlling and walking dimension. It's not too difficult to think why people think this will be the villain. But there are other creatures who could be the villain. Mordo could be the villain. There's multiple people who could realistically be the villain. But it's a bit strange. Now they've announced Doctor Strange 2. They've officially revealed the subtitles for all Phase 4. That all of a sudden, Scarlet Witch is the strongest Avenger. They could have said this going into the Endgame, but all of a sudden, there is kind of misconception and misleading around the internet that she is the only person who could beat Thanos stand alone, like by herself, because that's not really what it says. I mean, there's like here, 23 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago, and every headline is completely different. Completely different. Kevin Feige believes Scarlet Witch could defeat Thanos alone. But that's not what he said in the quote. It's very interesting, guys. Another, like, it's just insane. Different quote. How people alliterate information differently. It really is fascinating to me. Because realistically, he said in that position, she could have taken him down had he not called for an army. Because at this time, guys, he didn't have the Infinity Stones, did he? He didn't have anything. Because obviously, they were trying to get it away from Thanos. So at the time, he didn't have anything. So anyone literally could have taken him out. So it is pretty interesting how a lot of different websites can alliterate the same story in many different ways. Kevin Feige says it's possible Scarlet Witch could have single-handedly defeated Thanos. Well, realistically, anyone could have single-handedly defeated him in that position. Thor, like a bunch of people could. But it is interesting, guys, so let me know down below. Is Scarlet Witch now the strongest Avenger going into Doctor Strange 2? Is Nightmare going to be the overall villain? We hope so. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.